though a large part of it may be this. Here in the city where I work, many people regard me as a humorist. While in the country where I live, I'm just another one of the city people and largely ignored. You see, they have a humorist of their own, a man named Zeph, village handyman and homespun philosopher, the most beloved man in town. From the moment we met, our destinies were irrevocably linked, and I am now known as one of the two funniest men in town.
Only reason Adam was made first was to give him a chance to say something.
You know the type. Will Rogers grin, twinkle in the eye. Hire him to mow your lawn and then try not to hang by your thumbs till he gets there. Ellen once asked him to get rid of some mice in our basement.
Please come over, Zeph. They're big as rabbits.
Only way to get rid of mice big as rabbits is to stop drinking.
Now, he isn't even a professional. Yet, from time to time, he will challenge me to a duel of wits, knowing perfectly well that he has everything to gain and nothing to lose. He can gloat over his victory if he wins, and he can hide behind his amateur status if he loses.
Hey, Mr. Monroe, who was it invented the 5-day work week?
Oh, I don't know. Samuel Gompers, I suppose.
Nope, Robinson Crusoe. He managed to get all of his work done by Friday.
We are walking to the drugstore for some ice cream. Neither one of us is particularly excited about the walk or the ice cream, but it is comfortable and old-fashioned and gives us something to do. You having a lot of fun?
Uh-huh. Are you?
Yes, of course. What you are watching is a father and daughter walking together, having a lot of fun.
Hey, look. There's Mr. Leggin, the carpenter, in front of the drugstore.
Mr. Leggin is always in front of the drugstore.
Go get him, Zeph. You can take him again.
Well, now, let's don't go robbing the devil of his due. The man's got talent. Some of them pictures he draws is sort of droll.
I'll bet he's telling jokes.
Yes. Well, be polite and try not to notice,
Morning, Mr. Monroe.
Morning.
How are you, young lady?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Leggin. And you?
Oh, pretty good. Considering that when I came here, I didn't have a hair on my head, so we couldn't walk across the room. Had to be fed and carried everywhere I went.
Really? How long have you been here?
I was born here.
Very good. Very good.
I ain't seen you since last Sunday. What do you know? It's new and exciting in the city.
I don't know a thing. Not a thing.
Well, it ain't the things you don't know that get you in trouble. It's the things you know for sure that ain't so.
Well, we won't take up any more of your time.
Oh, we got plenty of that. We just sitting around giving each other good advice. We ain't none of us in any condition to set bad examples.
Your depression is a classic manifestation of suppressed anger. The anger is a logical outgrowth of your persecution syndrome, the direct result of your being unable to equal the challenge of this rural Rochefoucauld.
I'm a middle-aged man with a wife and a daughter and a dog and a slipped disc. I reject the idea of having any more challenges than I already have.
Then give up Sunday and ice cream. Better still, move out of the state.
You're not helping me.
All right, then stay and fight. That's what he wants. Confront him and settle the question once and for all. Who's number one? You or this hairy Milton Berle?
All right? I'll fight.
Good boy. Now, one of your problems is that you're not geared to this hayseed's timing. As a cartoonist, you're conditioned to the one-line joke. Your friend Aaron Slick from Pumpkin Creek uses a different art form, the basic rube joke. This calls for a straight man, or rube, meaning you, and a configuration that used to be known as the broken one-liner.
I don't follow you.
You've met my brother Henry, haven't you? The very tall one. Would have been 6'4" in his stocking feet.
What do you mean he would have been?
Henry never had a sock on in his life. You see? He gives you the opener, the hypothesis, the A proposition. You're not thinking. You hand him the feed line, leaving yourself wide open. And he hits you with the snapper.
I think you have found the soft underbelly of that apple knocker.
That's only one format. Now, if he senses that you're on to him, he'll probably fall back on the variation technique. The defense to that is anticipation.
Beat him to it.
Right. Now, make some notes.
And about a week after that, the doctor come around. He says, Miss Clark, I got good news for you. It looks like your husband's gonna pull through after all. She looked at him kind of funny and says, Doc, she says, Miss Clark looked at him kind of funny and says, well, Doc, that sort of puts me in a hole. I already sold his clothes to pay for the funeral. Very pleasant afternoon to you, Mr. Monroe. You think it'll rain? I wouldn't know. Well, if it does, and you're still walking around, I hope somebody gets a word to you. Good morning, Mr. Monroe. You think it's going to rain? I don't think so. But it'll be a long dry spell if it don't. Well, how are you, Mr. Monroe? Do you think it might rain? Well, it sure looks like it. Well, if it looks like rain, that's probably what it is. Morning, Mr. Monroe. Morning. Certainly is a fine Sunday morning. You think it might rain?
Sooner or later, it usually does.
Yeah. You could say that.
I already did. How you feeling, Zeph?
Well, if it's having fun you're talking about, that's kind of like life insurance.
That's one way of looking at it. The older you are, the more you have to pay for it. Mr. Legan, I might as well tell you right now, you are going to have tough sledding around here for a while.
Oh? What makes you think so?
No snow.
Ain't you going to say something?
I don't think I have much to say to Mr. Monroe.
Gentlemen.
Where were you this morning?
Why, what happened this morning?
The staff of this magazine had a meeting. I think you should know that since you missed our regular Friday locker room rah-rah, I appeased everyone by spreading the rumor that you were dead.
Oh, thanks, man.
Don't mention it. Come to think of it, where were you all week?
Preparing the final confrontation with that pebble kicker.
Look, old friend, I have a feeling you ought to push all this stuff behind you.
Well, why? What's the matter?
That's not sunlight shining on your glasses. I detect a faint glint of paranoia.
Why, that's nonsense. Besides, this is all part of your suggestion.
Don't say that. I still haven't forgiven myself for biting my nails. How much guilt can a man handle?
I'm ready, Daddy.
Good, good.
Are you sure you want me to go with you?
Of course, why not?
Well, I have the feeling that most of the time you take me with you just because you think you have to.
Well, that's not true. I like your company.
Not all the time.
Well, nobody likes someone's company all the time. Well, you don't like to be around me every minute, do you?
No.
Well, then.
Well, as long as you put it that way. Zeph isn't sitting in front of the drugstore.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
Where do you suppose he is?
I don't know.
I mean, do you suppose he's sick or something?
Well, of course not. He probably just decided to sit in front of something else for a change.
Why would he do that?
How should I know? Look, Lydia, here. You run along and buy the ice cream and take it back to your mother.
Okay. Sure, I'm glad we had that little talk. Otherwise, a thing like this sure could be upsetting.
Excuse me. I was looking for Zeph Leggin. You haven't seen him, have you?
Not since a couple of days.
Kind of unusual, his not sitting out in front here with all of you.
Yeah.
Well, he's not sick, is he?
Nope, not exactly.
Well, where is he?
Upstairs in his room, packing.
What do you mean, packing?
He's leaving.
They ain't locked. Well, Mr. Monroe, I ain't gonna ask you nothing about your health or the weather or your future plans. You're too tough.
Are you all right?
Always thought it was. Maybe that's been my main problem.
I heard in town that you were leaving.
I hope nobody'd notice it.
You planning on moving somewhere nearby?
Ain't got that far in my thinking.
There must be some reason for you to leave Westbury.
Well, now, what would you do if you was in my shoes?
Get a shine?
I wish I'd have said that.
Go ahead, everyone else has.
There's a knack to telling jokes, I guess. Them that has it, sometimes they lose it.
Surely you're not brooding about a couple of tired little jokes last Sunday. Everybody's forgotten all about that.
A little place like Westbury don't forget it. And I don't either. Ain't no getting around it. I've been bad whipped, and you done it fair.
Now, that is simply not true. I hardly laid a glove on you, and there was nothing fair about it.
It's easy enough for you to say it.
Now, listen to me, Zeph. I studied for last Sunday. I was cramming. Why, I even read Captain Billy's whiz-bang.
Them jokes wasn't in Captain Billy's. I know 'em by heart.
Those jokes, I've been working those jokes up for a week or more.
You done 'em yourself? Just like that? You're not just funny. You're educated, too. I ain't up to that. I'm a self-made man.
Don't ever say that. You leave yourself wide open for the other fellow to say, well, you knocked off work too soon. Or maybe, well, that sure does take the blame off of nature.
George, it does, don't it? I got to remember both of them.
I got 100 of them laying around. I can't use them. I work in a different style. Now, why don't you go ahead and take them?
No. Much obliged, anyways. Man that's lost his standing in the community, a few new jokes ain't gonna get it back for him.
Well, you sure do drive a hard bargain. All right. I'll tell you what we're going to do. First, we're going to change your approach just a little bit. Your move.
I did. King me.
Why?
Because I reached your end of the board. That's the rule.
Well, it's a ridiculous rule.
The Mothers Guild at the school had a luncheon yesterday, and Mr. Leggin was the guest speaker.
You mean he spoke to the mothers while they were eating?
Can I have my king?
All right, there.
He's not funny in the same way that, say, you are, John, but he is funny. You should listen to him sometime.
Most of the time, you can't avoid listening to him.
He was really at his best when he was making fun of himself.
Did you move?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you wait until I was looking?
Sorry.
He said he was a self-made man, but sometimes wondered if he'd knocked off work too soon.
So where did you move?
There to there.
He said when he first came to Westbury, the town was unique. Unique is Latin, he said. Unus for one and ecus for horse.
There, you have to jump me.
And they had to widen the main street to put the white line down the middle.
You have only one left.
Well, I know it, but I can't concentrate with all this other stuff going on.
Then about when he was going to school, he had to walk 3 miles and thought nothing of it. And doesn't think much of it now, either. Isn't that funny?
Sure, it's funny. It's always been funny.
Then there was another one about the trouble he had with oversleeping when he was a child. Oh, it was so funny. In a silly way, but I just can't... Oh, yes. He said it was because there were 8 in his family.
And the alarm clock was always set for 7.
That's right, that's it. There was one you would have liked, dear. When they showed him his new baby brother and asked what he thought of him, he said, I suppose he's all right, but there's lots of things we needed worse.
Monroe?
I am Mr. Monroe, John, or occasionally Hey Mac. There's only one place I was ever addressed simply as Monroe, and they stopped doing that there when I made corporal.
Yes? I need to talk to you.
All right, step in.
Need to talk in private.
All right, step out.
Sit down. Sit down. I've done real good the last few days in front of the drugstore.
So I've heard. The renaissance of Zeph Leggin, as I understand it.
Well, I don't like to toot my own bazoo, but have been well received. Nothing like new material.
Yeah, especially if the price is right.
Well, what I stopped by for, the 4th of July, the Sons of Bunker Hill are holding their annual Clam Fest over at Southport. And I've been requested to deliver the remarks. the main speech of the afternoon.
Well, now.
But the thing about it's this, these little grinnies and chucklers I've been getting off around town, they're all right for the local market. But a county-wide function like the Sons of Bunker Hill, that'd call for something a little more special.
Then give it to him.
But I was wondering, maybe you'd put some material together for me for the occasion. Wouldn't need more than about 20 minutes worth.
Legan, let me get this perfectly straight. Are you asking me to be your writing staff?
Well, might as well look the facts in the face, both of us. These speeches are going to keep coming up. And even the funniest people in the country don't have to put their own stuff together.
Out.
What's up?
You get your rustic overalls off my front doorstep and keep off my premises. Steer clear of me at all times. I do not want to see you or hear you again.
There's times, Monroe, when I don't understand you at all.
I'll just be sure this isn't one of them, huh? Because if you so much as say good morning to me again, you'd better be very sincere and humorless about it, or I will clobber you in full view of the native population.
There's one thing I've no use for. It's a poor loser.
Those jokes Mom was telling us, the ones from Mr. Lagan,
Yeah?
well, most of them are jokes you've been telling for years.
Well, I suppose there are just so many jokes around.
But you could be funnier than that man any day of the week.
On weekends, I prefer not to be.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm the Robinson Crusoe type. I like to get my work done by Friday.